Hi, welcome back. It is very early here and there is no buzz of the air conditioner. Well, I do a lot of sewing and I use prefilled bobbins. So either black or white. I do have a couple that are monofill, I think is what it's called, that they're invisible thread. But what I've been doing is saving the spools, or not spools, saving the bobbins, trying to figure out what to do with them because I thought there was something there. And eventually I came up with making little spools. And so I take a little piece of leftover batting to fill in the gap. I don't want to have to use a whole bunch of fabric to create the effect. So I'll cut up the little piece of batting and push it into the bobbin, as you see there, about the width of the bobbin, and I think that's about a 2-inch wide maybe piece of batting. And I'll take a little strip of fabric the same width as the bobbin, inside of the bobbin mostly. I'm not doing this precisely. I haven't measured the bobbin and all of that, but I will, I'm showing you here, I kind of measured, and I use scrap fabric or fabric that, like that fabric there came with a thrifted bundle of fabric, and it's not really my style, but in a little piece in a bobbin turned into a spool, which is what this craft is here, to make spool beads. Probably should have said that at the beginning, but it will be in the title so you'll know. I don't glue the batting in. You can if you want to, but I've been using fabric tack, and that stuff is it's got a mind of its own. So I try to use as little as possible. I try to work as fast as possible, because if you don't put the lid back on, at least here, if I don't put the lid back on immediately, it just depends, but it'll start bubbling up and out of the bottle. And it's such a pain. So I just will make the little bead, or make the little batting, put it into the spool, wrap the fabric around it as tight as I can, and the fabric, I think that was another 2-inch, maybe 3-inch wide, 2.5 to 3-inch wide piece of fabric, and just use a little bit of that fabric tack glue to hold it in place. And so far so good. Okay, next I want to make a topper for the bobbin, because I want to turn it into the spool now. So what I'm going to do is take this leftover cardboard from some packaging. It's a bit sturdy. I think like a cereal box or food type packaging cardboard may work as well. I need to be able to punch the circle, so it can't be too thick, because I'm just using a little punch there. But this is the base for the covering for the bobbin, so it'll cover up all that batting. You won't see it. And this is a a bit of Tim Holtz here I got at the thrift store a few years back, and I found 3 pads and I was like, oh, this is great. And then one of the pads, I think I've already used it up. The printing was off. It was very dull. And I have these other ones, and on the front it's real cute, but I don't know what to do with I don't know, seasonal things. I don't do a lot of seasonal things, and I found this paper though, and I thought, well, let's give it a try. Now this piece that I'm using, I tried to at one point punch out squares, and my square punch broke. So that's what those lines are all over the paper, but this is working really well to cover up the cardboard piece. So what I do now is I'm going to dab the archival jet black onto the plastic spool so that it kind of dulls the sheen. I don't think you'll see it if I hadn't done it, but I do it because even though it's going to be covered up, the edging is still there of the plastic a little bit. If you really looked at it closely, you would see it. So I'm just going to dab with a makeup sponge the jet black, and I like cover up a bit more to create the bead. And then I'm going to take the jet black and distress the edges of all. Each piece has 3 pieces. It has is it 3 pieces? Okay, so no. Yeah, you have the cardboard insert. Then you have the topper. And so and what I'm doing there is gluing it with tacky glue. You could use stronger glue, but it gives me a little wiggle room. And there I am assembling the 3 pieces. I have a topper, the middle cardboard, and then the bottom. And once I punch those circles, that paper that had the seasonal things turned into amazing wood and vintage looking spools, for this project. I really loved how it turned out. I did some where I assembled the covers and then distressed the sides, and it was okay, but I felt like I needed to go back and re-dab them. That it didn't seem to be enough. So this way, the second round, then a lot of that was off, like me looking at it closely, so it's not on camera. So I did another round this way with dabbing each piece, and it's a little tedious, but it's worth it because it really came out good. Now I have to press, and I don't know, are these called like biscuits, or when you make something like that? I vaguely recall hearing something called a biscuit. I don't know. But I press really hard to make sure that the sides are all together. Okay, now I'm going to use my crocodile to punch the holes through all 3 layers, the 2 pieces of cardstock and our scrapbook paper, and the cardboard that's the middle of it. And so I'm just going to move the guide there to make it so that each one will be in the middle as best I can. And I just want to say I am using the wider hole, I guess, the bigger hole on the crocodile so that I don't know how I'm going to string these. I don't know if I'm going to use thread or yarn or ribbon, so I wanted to use the biggest hole. So now I get to the part where I will glue these scrapbook circles, toppers, biscuits onto the spools, and I'm using Fabri-Tac. You could do this, I think, probably with hot glue if you are brave. But I just use the Fabri-Tac, and I just try to not too much, not too little. It's hard to sometimes to measure that correctly and get that on there, but I put them on and then I squeezed as hard as I could, and if any glue seeped out I would wipe that off, and it worked out pretty good. Some of them, as they dried, lifted a little bit, but I don't think it turned out too bad. And yeah, there's the little, now a spool bead.